Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Louisa from Feel Good Astrology and also the Barefoot broadcast. And I'm absolutely, I don't know, a bit rocked at the moment by all the different sort of energies that are going around right now. And I was having a chat with a couple of good friends who you see above, and I'll bring them on to chat in a minute. But yeah, we were talking about how, astrologically right now we've got lots of fire energy really, really kicking off. We've got lots of water energy that's still really kind of going on. We've got the movement from Pisces to Aries. Now, obviously, we are coming into the Taurus season. We have got this exciting Jupiter and Uranus conjunction coming up. But air is the next big energy that's really, really coming in, and that will be really felt, with Jupiter moving into Gemini very soon and all the lovely, lovely aspects going on in this year. So I've brought on these two lovely, lovely women who are both very much healers, both quite shamanic, and they talk about grounding. They talk about that sort of missing element that we really all seem to need really quite badly right now, and that's the element of earth. So let me bring on my friends now. We've got Bo, above Bo Lemm, and we've also got lovely Jennie Lows. So hello, ladies. How are you?
Hi there, Louisa.
What's going on in your world right now? How are you observing the energies right now?
Who wants to go first? Do you want to go first, Bo? Or do you want me to? Okay. Well, I think it's been a bit crazy, hasn't it? Well, it's been a bit crazy for quite a few years, but I think definitely in the last probably month, 6 weeks, maybe, there seems to have been this kind of increase in energy, especially in my kind of environment too. But lots of kind of sudden shocking things happening, lots of emotions. I think I've cried more in the last months than I have done probably in the last previous 5 years, I should think.
Wow.
But there's definitely been lots of releases going on in my household. As you know, we lost our dog quite suddenly a few weeks ago, and then my son quite spectacularly broke his arm in 2 places, and we're still kind of dealing with that. So there's been lots of that, and I've definitely been feeling it in myself. I've dropped a few kilos in the last few weeks, and it's not because I've not been eating. It feels like it's an energetic thing, like my thyroid is kind of being a little bit affected. So I've been working as hard as possible to try and keep my feet on the ground and not lose myself in everything that's going on around me. But it definitely does seem that, like, politically as well, there's lots going on. Every time you switch on the news, not that I do switch on the news very often, but every time you switch on the news, there's some other conflict happening, and war and destruction and death and not very nice things happening, really. So I think that collectively we're all feeling it. And I know I keep quite a close eye on the Schumann resonance, and I have done for quite a few years now. And this last few days post eclipse, it's been very, very, very intense, and lots of clearing energies going on, but also lots of kind of high frequency energies too. So I think lots of people have been getting downloads and information from the ether. Maybe, lots of people know how to deal with that, but there are also people that don't know how to deal with that very well. And this kind of shift in our nervous system and the way that we're feeling. But I'm definitely seeing that in people around me, and, in my own kind of myself too, definitely.
Wow, thank you for that. Before I move over to Bo, do you want to just tell us, you said in my environment, what is it that you do, Jennie?
So my background was in nursing originally, and I still do a little bit of nursing. In fact, I was doing that yesterday. But I'm also an integrative health practitioner and spiritual counsellor, and I also do Reiki too, which I learned via Bo. So at the moment, what Bo and I have been doing is we both work independently, but we've come together to form a kind of collective. And what we've discovered is, through working with lots of clients, is that people often take part of the healing process, but they don't look at it as an overall whole. And we defer a lot of our healing process to other people too. So what we've been doing in the last year really is trying to put together a course or courses or resources to help people understand themselves better in order to be able to start the healing process, because we both understand that a lot of healing does come from really understanding yourself and the way in which you feel or react, or the way your body reacts to certain circumstances. So we've been doing that. We've been working very hard on that, and hopefully that will be launching on the 8th of May. So the course that we're launching, we've on our website, the Barefoot Healers, we've got courses in grounding, intuition, Reiki, but we've done like a master course, which it encompasses our barefoot philosophy, which we've managed to fit into an acronym of barefoot. And it's like all the pillars of health, basically. And the course, it will take about 9 months to do for people, like in their own time, but it'll be over 9 months. And at the end of it, people should have a very good understanding of self, and also understanding what they need to do in terms of their own health and optimization. And we're just working at the moment with the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine, and we're waiting for accreditation. So if we get accreditation, people will also be able to do the course and then call themselves a holistic health coach and be able to work with clients too. Yeah, so initially we weren't going to get it accredited, and it was just going to be for people to do for themselves or for friends and family. But as we went through the amount of content that we've got there, we've got a huge amount of content and resources, and there'll be like one-to-one sessions, live sessions, recorded lectures and things like that. We realised that actually there was enough here for people to be able to go ahead and help other people in a more official kind of manner if they wanted to. Like, some people don't want to, some people do. And I think we need an army of people out there helping other people to try and guide them in the right direction as to where they need to go.
Absolutely. First of all, wow. Second, thanks for sharing that. Yes, an army of people. Let me hold that thought, because I want to find out, Bo, what's your feeling about the temperature right now? You know, like, what's your experience? Like, we've both said, oh my God, things are really
Well, the same, but I'm quite, I'm a more of a hermit. I'm not out and about as often as some people are. So when I've been out, I've noticed people are running around. They're really hectic. They're just like can't keep still. They don't seem to want to make any eye contact. They don't want to talk to you. They just want to run past, get on with their things. And so, like Jenny was saying, we just really want, everyone just needs to calm down a bit. I feel like there's not enough thought. I don't feel like there's enough thought going on with everybody's daily lives. So as Jenny was saying, you know, we've created this sort of barefoot roadmap for everybody just to, like, I feel like we just need to
simmer down.
Yeah, definitely. I was out this weekend and we went to the beach because it was just a beautiful weekend, and it was so busy. Now everybody obviously wants to go to the beach. It's beautiful, but it was like the height of summer, not April. It was. I don't know where all these people come from. You know, it's our beach. What are you doing? So yeah, I just feel like people need to calm, take a breath. With all the hype of the eclipse that was going on recently, I feel like after the eclipse, just everything seemed to, like, it was like there was a release. It was like there was something has been released, something's been let out, whether it's an expectation that the world was going to end on April the 8th, whether and it didn't.
Did people actually write that? Were people saying it's all going to end? I don't know. I guess there are doom and gloom like sayers everywhere, aren't there? And definitely. I guess one day they might be right, but I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I feel like the energy calmed down after the eclipse, but then I felt like it built up again. But maybe that's just in my own personal sphere, you know what I mean? But I do feel like it did seem to, like you say, it was like a big and then it's built again. But maybe you have some more insights on that as to the astrological perspective as to why that might be.
Yeah, well, we've got Jupiter-Uranus conjunction coming up this weekend, which is pretty big. That is a big releasing energy in the earth, funnily enough. This is where I want to come to, actually, because obviously with your masterclass, your roadmap, and all these amazing, hopefully accredited skills that you're going to be sharing soon with people, I think you're helping people to manage their energies and to get really conscious of what's going on and to really sort of tune in and to feel into it. How do you feel into the, like, you know, if we were to say how you're experiencing the energy right now, what kind of element does it feel like? You know, because you were mentioning about the eclipse, which is kind of fiery energy. Mm-hmm. I've also noticed that there's a lot of emotions coming up. You know, there's this, like from my perspective, I know a few people that have kind of collapsed into illness. Lots of people around me.
Me too.
We've got some personal friends that have just been whisked to hospital, like really conscious friends who tend to like watch their health and really take great care of themselves. And, you know, we're just hearing about all these different people getting poorly, almost as if, you know, their bodies have been holding on to this whole like mother load of energies, whether it's their fiery intentions, their watery emotions. But also I think there's the connections with ancestral stuff, you know, which is carried through. I always think this is, you know, like the spirit realms, you know, which is very much air stuff. It doesn't feel like anything is particularly grounded. And I think I'm wondering if that's why so many people are feeling things in their bodies, you know, that our bodies are trying to ground everything that we're experiencing and it's coming out as illnesses. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely seeing that. I mean, as my son broke his arm, I've spent 3 whole days in the hospital, and the night that he was admitted to hospital was horrendous. There were so many kids in the ER waiting, and they were all looked like they had the same kind of symptoms, like flu-like symptoms, pneumonia type things, lots of sick under 5-year-olds. And then also through the adult side, because I could also see the adult side as well, it was obvious there was a lot of bone breaks. There was a lot of like cardiac problems. I could see people in the waiting room thinking that guy's going to have a heart attack in a minute if they don't send him through, or he's having a heart attack. I actually said to the secretary on the desk, don't put him through triage on a green bracelet. He's literally having a heart attack right in front of you. And she did get him through, because I could see that he was really struggling. But I think that it almost feels like people are ready to explode. In a way, it's like people who aren't able to process or don't have that inner awareness as to why they're feeling something, or don't take any notice of what's going on kind of in the climate around them. Those people look like they're on a bit of a knife edge and something's going to happen. But maybe the whole eclipse energy has just helped move like energy through people, and that is manifesting as different illnesses and different problems. But I am seeing it a lot around me. I am hearing a lot of people talking about migraines, about like nausea, ringing in the ears. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about ringing in their ears a lot. So I think collectively we are really feeling it, but individually people have to go on their own journey too, so that collectively we can kind of come back together again and make some sense out of this shit show that's happening around us. Excuse my French.
No, I mean, that's how I was talking about it just this morning with my husband. Outside having a cup of tea, sort of grounding for a moment and thinking, this is just a massive shit show. Like,
and I think everything that's just happening in the world, like, you know, the slaughter of people and things like that, just, you know, it doesn't sit with anybody, even if you are one side or the other. To see that on your screens, however regularly you do watch the TV, it's just the worst. And to think that we're living in this time, you know, we think we're in 2024 and that we're beyond all this, but there's still so much like war and carnage. It just doesn't sit. It doesn't sit with anybody. Everybody's feeling uncertain, and there's nothing we can do. And you feel helpless, and it's going to affect you. It's going to get down into you. You're going to feel it, however much you don't think that that's the case. It's affecting everybody. You know, it's a global thing.
Yeah, like something that you said there, Bo, the uncertainty and how you feel helpless. That really, really sort of like rung a bell for me, because it's almost like there's nothing that any of us can hold on to right now. Like, where are the truths right now? what can we actually know with any certainty right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that I do every day is I continually try and send love out to the ether, to the people, to that plant, this tree, everything has to get balance, send love to it. That's what I can do. I know that I can do that. It can be exhausting. It can feel fruitless as well, because it's like you don't actually have anything to show for it. But you know, it's sort of, for me, that helps to keep my balance, to keep my center. But you know, a lot of people don't have that sort of faith or that sort of desire. You know, they just see this as like, oh my God, I'm helpless, there's nothing I can do. But there's a lot that you can do, you know, for your own mental well-being.
I love that. It's funny that you're talking about spreading love out and putting it into a plant, which obviously the plant, I always, like when I look at trees, I just think of massive receivers. You know, they've got their antennas in the air, you know, their branches receiving any sort of cosmic flows, and it goes all the way down into their roots, into the ground. So you're really seeding love into the earth. I've been doing that with water. So every time I drink water, every time I breathe, because obviously there's tiny little bits of water everywhere. Every time I go to the beach, we're all very lucky, aren't we, that we all live so close to some fabulous beaches. What about you, Jen? What have you been?
Well, I mean, I know personally, I've been.
Have you? Because there's a lot going.
Not really, but with the extra daylight hours that we've got and the weather's been so nice, for the past few days I've been taking the dogs like on long walks, and I've just been observing what's around me and the growth and life that's still carrying on when we're not interfering at all with that. Well, we are a bit, but you know, like I live quite rurally, and I spent the other day just going around and seeing what kind of medicinal plants I could find in my environment. And I did find quite a lot, actually. And I was watching the bees, I was watching the butterflies, I was walking with my feet off, I was observing my dogs, I was, you know, looking at everything that continues regardless of what we do or not, really, and how strong and wonderful nature is, and how disconnected people have become from that. And I think that's become a lot more evident since 2020, because people have become a lot more focused on their devices, people have become much more kind of insular and focused on also like all the stuff that's going on around the world too. But I definitely know for me that being in nature makes such a difference. Like as soon as I feel that energy building in me, that I know I need to have a release, like I might go and sit somewhere and cry, or just go and like put my back up against a tree or something and have my feet on the ground, or go and dangle my feet in water somewhere, and just try and observe like the beauty that is around us, because it is everywhere. Like, and at the moment with spring being here, the colours are amazing. There's purple and yellow everywhere, and I found some peace lilies that were just randomly growing somewhere the other day, and some wild yellow irises which were just random, like in the middle of nowhere. And you think, how did that get there? And also I've been listening a lot to the birds. I've been spending a lot of time. I don't know if there's an app called Merlin. It's a brilliant app, and you have to put your location on, and you press record, and it listens to the birds in your environment, and it tells you what they are. And every day a new bird shows up that I've either never heard of or I've never definitely seen. And I'm thinking, well, I can hear you, but I don't know where you are, but you're here. You know, it's amazing. I love listening to the birds. It's amazing.
Because we've got some birds that moved in about a month ago across the road, and they've got this very distinct little calling, and we've never known what it is, but it's really quite unusual. And we've also got some hoopus that have come in, and they've got a real sound like hoo 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 hoo. I love them.
You use the app. It's fascinating, because then once it's identified them, it also gives you like information about the bird and about their habitat and all that kind of thing. So it's really, and now I can identify like, the robin's there, I can hear the robin. So you don't often see lots of robins, do you? You just see one but we've got, I mean, the abundance of birds we've got in where I live is incredible.
Yes. Oh, wow. And of course, that's what you just described there is using technology to reconnect you to nature, which is almost like kind of side what's going on. I love that.
Yeah.
So obviously this is a sort of crossover show where we're chatting about life and healing and stuff, and also like touching on the stars a little bit. Can I bring your charts onto the screen? Because I'd love to.
Oh, please do.
I'd love to.
I'd love to see the sort of portrait of healers and some of the things that like maybe sort of hinting at your earthiness and the groundedness, and what opportunities there are between you as well. And then maybe we can talk about your maybe top 3 tips about grounding. Would that be cool?
Yeah.
All right. Let's bring your charts onto the screen. Now it's probably a bit difficult for you guys to see them, but when they're on a big screen, they should be a lot easier to understand after. Like if you see this after it's like gone live. So this is your chart, Jenny, and this is your chart, Bo. And what I've got in the middle is all of the planets at the time, place, and date of your birth. I've put in some asteroids, which I always use. These are the feminine ones. Ceres, which is like Demeter, she's Mother Nature. I've also got Juno. She's all about commitment and dedication and higher love. I've also got Pallas Athena, who is about, I would say, feminine strategic wisdom and noticing patterns. And also Vesta, which looks like almost like the steam coming from a cup of coffee. She's all about living with integrity. And also I think Chiron, there you go. Chiron, the wounded healer, who comes up very strongly in lots of people's charts, who are healers or coaches, anyone that is on a healing path. So where shall I start? Well, the first thing, because we're talking about the elements of earth, I think, we're going to sort of head on to grounding, and also the fact that we've got this very strong Uranus and Jupiter conjunction coming up. So around the outside, we've got all the current positions of planets. So I'm really curious to see where this flash of Earth is showing up in each of your charts, because it's showing this kind of new healing energy, a sort of innovative healing energy, possibly where we might use technology to help with the healing journey, but also it's very, very expansive. And the first thing I noticed straight away with your chart, Jenny, is obviously you've got your sun and your moon in earth signs, which is very, very grounded. You've got Scorpio rising, which also makes you a real sort of powerhouse. The energy of Scorpio always likes to really tune into, what's at the root cause, like really sort of like get down to the nitty gritty. You're like wanting to get in deep into the consciousness of what's going on in a situation.
That's so Jenny.
Yeah, I should have been a detective, really.
and also at the same time, whatever you find out, you then are wanting to take practical actions. So it's not just about kind of investigating people for shits and giggles. You're doing that so that you can create some practical outcomes. So I love that. And you've got this lovely moon, this very caring moon on the descendant, really showing your desire to like help heal people. Now, right now, as we're recording this, Jupiter and Uranus are coming into their conjunction right on your moon and your descendant. So this feels very, very integral to, I guess, birthing, your new big project, the resources that you've created with Bo. It feels like a very releasing moment in time. What I would say, and you might have noticed this already going on, is right now the people in your life maybe seem a bit chaotic or a bit accident prone, because Uranus right on your descendant. Your descendant is about the people in your life. And so it's like, they're either bringing chaos and adventure and insight and, consciousness, which are very Uranian themes, but also with Uranus is sudden breaks, sudden change. So people might seem a bit unpredictable around you. And, their emotions might also seem very unpredictable. And that's likely to make you feel a little bit unstable. So you might also need to take your advice, which I'm sure you're doing.
Yeah.
That's like my first thought. Also, I mean, your Uranus is also very close to your ascendant. So, you know, Uranus is a very important planet for you. You know, it's very much about consciousness and the unseen world, and how you can work with the unseen and make it seen. I also notice your Saturn up here in a conjunction with your Sun, really showing that you've always been quite adult, always happy to sort of take on responsibility. What I would say is you're able to take on responsibility. Things that a lot of people probably couldn't, probably, you know, in such a way that you're able to control a situation, or, you know, be able to say, okay, everyone stop. Here's how we might do it. You know, you're happy to assume that position, which is important because we need people to do that. Let's have a look at Bo's, because you've got a whole different kind of set of energies going on here, Bo. You've got this lovely Libran rising. Now, interestingly, you've also got your moon in the 7th house, just like Jennie has. Again, you know, it's very much tuning into the emotions of other people and tuning into the sort of collective energy of people. And whereas Jennie's got Uranus and Jupiter on her moon right now, you've got like the Sun, Chiron's not a million miles away from there. You've also got Mercury retrograde over there. So it might also seem to you like people are a little bit confusing. You know, you're picking up on the confusion of people around you at the moment, and possibly about their call, their sort of their call for deep healing and cleansing. So whereas in Jennie's world, it feels like people are coming crashing into her world, being with you, I get the sense that you're being called in to go deep with people at the moment. You know, people are calling you in a different way. And here's also, I love this. So obviously, if I was to put your charts together, your North Node, Bo, which is about your karma, is connected to Jennie's descendant and her moon. You know, so it's like Jennie's emotional set point is connected to your karmic set point. You know, there is this kind of shared emotional karmic vision that you both have. Because like Jupiter and Uranus is right over Jennie's moon, it's very, very close to your North Node as well. So it's definitely opening up. This is a turning point in your life, I would say, you know, where something is about to go boom, you know. How does that sound so far?
We've also got, I've noticed, Chiron. We've both got Chiron in the 6th. Is that
yes,
right?
you do.
Yeah.
So do I as well. That is also something that comes up with people that work as coaches and healers. It's a really good spot, that actually, Jennie. Chiron in the 6th is a really funny one, because a lot of people with Chiron in the 6th go through a bit of ill health themselves. And often that's the thing, like how they manage their own energy systems often leads them in the direction of natural health and healing, and how to help heal other people. Because when we do it for ourselves, it just sort of extends and vibrates out of us. So that's a really good observation. I'm not surprised to see it there. But it often takes us a while to get on our feet, you know, with Chiron in the 6th. Because the narrative that we've all been sold, the idea that, oh, if you go to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, you know, everything's going to be hunky-dory. Doesn't work the same for us. That's almost like a death sentence. You know, it kind of it creates a feeling of dis-ease for most of us, with that as a marker. What's your interpretation of it, Jennie? Because I know you've been studying astrology, in particular medical astrology.
Yeah, well, definitely. I think kind of my sole purpose is through my Chiron placement, really. And I understand where my wounds kind of come from with Chiron, especially in Taurus. But definitely I've developed my kind of my work, and the way I am is through my own health stories and my, you know, where I've been kind of deeply wounded. And that is definitely emotional linked with physical for sure, and psychological and soul as well. Definitely my wounded soul has led me to kind of where I am today. And Bo and I really started coming together in 2020 when everything was going crazy. So we actually, Bo and I kind of knew each other before then, but I moved next door to her in 2017 after a big shift in my life and a very difficult time. And we didn't get really close during that time because I was kind of like in proper hermit mode, and I was like head down, just trying to work and survive, really. But then in 2020, when everything had shut down, I still needed to walk my dogs. So Bo would come with me while we were walking our dogs. And that's where we developed this kind of sense that we knew that our sole purpose, both of us, was to try and help other people. And I was looking at it from quite a physical perspective because of my background in nursing and looking at in that way. And Bo was very much looking at it from a kind of energetic soul alternative perspective. And we managed to kind of merge those together and come up with this kind of way in which we can tackle all three to be able to live our kind of life's purpose. So that's what we've been doing really the last 4 years, is trying to come to that point. But yeah, it's interesting that you say in a lot of healers' charts, the Chiron's in the 6th, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've all three of us have got our Chiron in the 6th, our Chiron making a trine to the midheaven. The midheaven is about our career. So like there's yours. Bo. Yours is in conjunction with Saturn, which makes it you really quite sort of serious and purposeful with how you want to do it. Yours is also, so you've got, this is you, Jenny, Chiron in a trine to your Sun, in a trine to your Saturn, and also in a trine to your midheaven. So, you know, what I really get with both of those is you've got Chiron and Saturn connected, and your midheavens. Okay, they're in different ways, but you know, Saturn is about taking responsibility and being an elder and showing up as a reliable, a safe ground, I would say, and also very much about teaching. And Chiron is helping people. I always think, you know, Chiron at one end is showing us what we need to heal, but it also shows us our transformation and how we become a mentor and a guide in our own right. So you're taking people on a healing journey so that they can heal beyond their problems and, you know, then start to show up as a mentor. And so I really see that there's a lot of responsibility that you're taking here. So I'm not surprised you've got your course accredited. That makes complete sense to me. And then you're trying to the midheaven. It's very much like, this is how you rise. This is how you show up in the world. Jenny, yours is also in a trine with Ceres, you know, goddess Demeter, you know, Demeter of the earth. So, you know, this is absolutely, and she's also the earth mother, you know, so it is about like the potentials. It's really funny. Like when you look at astrology, I always say that Saturn and Ceres really show the great mum and the great father. And so I think there's something ancestral going on there. Now, obviously, I know that you, Bo, also are really quite ancestral too. Now, when we look at your Chiron, yours is also connected to your South Node, which is about the past, you know, like like your timeline or past lives and things like that. Your Mercury, is it retrograde? It looks like it is. So your ability to think differently about healing. Also to your Neptune, which is like spiritual as well. So that's just huge. There's so many different aspects that your Chiron and Saturn are connecting to. So yeah, I can absolutely see that you're on a really similar path there. Is there anything else you want me to observe as well? What else do you notice? You've both got Pluto in your 11th.
Yeah.
Which I think significant. I've also got Pluto in my 11th as well. And my experience of that is like the 11th house is about the sort of collective values and also about, I would say, trusting in the collective memory or the collective space. With Pluto there, it creates a bit of a distrust for narratives. And it really shows this kind of energy of needing to find out for yourself. We've got fighter jets going over at the moment. I don't know if you can hear those. So I don't know if it's almost like being an outsider. I don't know if that resonates with you guys, like the feeling.
Yeah, definitely. I was always told, I'm not an astrologer, so tell me if I'm wrong, Louisa, but that my Chiron was about people, me working with people that don't belong. Because myself, when I was younger, I was fostered when I was a baby. And so I always had that sort of feeling of not necessarily belonging, even though I had a great family. And I think that Chiron, a lot of my clients seem to have that sort of, what can I say, that sort of characteristic of not feeling like they belong in the world, or, you know, in whatever way they don't belong, you know.
Yeah, I think that's really profound. And yeah, one of the things that I like about what you're saying here, your Pluto is in opposition to Chiron, and so's your Uranus. It's because of the year that you're born. Everyone born in your year has this particular pattern of like Saturn and Chiron and Pluto and Uranus. And there is definitely this feeling of like uncertainty, you know, the uncertainty that you were talking about, the sort of feeling like an orphan to the world. So Pluto here is very much about being an outsider, and then Chiron here is like you don't necessarily feel like you fit into the normal day-to-day story, you know. So I can see how that would absolutely bring up what you're saying there, for sure. Also, the ruler of your home, excuse me, the ruler of your home, like this part here, the fourth house, it's Saturn. And so your Saturn's in a conjunction with Chiron, which would also say, there is hurt associated with where you belong. I would say it's a really good interpretation.
I think it's interesting that neither of us have much placements in third, fourth and fifth house. Like, it's always empty.
It is, yeah.
And that everything's bunched up in the other houses.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know, actually.
I don't know either.
I mean, it's funny. A lot of people, you know, when they start learning astrology, say, "Oh, I've got an empty house. Therefore, I must not have anything to do with the home, or I must have nothing to do with the community." And you know, my early years, which is very much the third house, and the fifth is like creativity and children. Now, I know that we're all mums. I know that we all have homes. And I know that we all can show up in our communities and stuff. So it doesn't follow that if you have nothing in it, that you don't do very well. But what you know, with empty houses, it's important to see what the ruler is. What's the planet that rules this house, and where is that planet? So in yours, Bo, your Jupiter rules your third house. And your Jupiter's in the 10th. He's also in the sign of Leo, and he's almost on a real sort of like wide conjunction with Juno. But your Jupiter is making this lovely connection to your Sun and Venus, and so your third house has the pattern of Jupiter and Venus and the Sun. So if we think like Jupiter and Venus are the benefics, they're the beneficial planets, they're the ones of hope and optimism and connection and togetherness. And the Sun is about self-expression. So the third house, which is about how you are in your local environment, about learning things and the sort of usual interactions that people go through on a day-to-day basis. Yours is about peace and optimism and friendliness and getting on. There's no malice there, is what I would say. The way you function in the world is to be peaceful and to be proactive and to be helpful. And Jupiter's also making a lovely trine with Saturn as well. So it's also practical. You know, you don't want to kind of blow up your local community with like loads of ideas but no action. You know, you have a certain amount of measure and discernment, you know, in your community. And so I would look at the rulers of each of your third, fourth and fifth, and that gives you more of a description. So for instance, your third, Jenny, is ruled by Saturn and Uranus, because your Aquarius has two rulers. Now your Aquarius, your Uranus is in the 12th house. So there's something of the psychic detective in you within your communities. And so you might find, Jenny, that you, without meaning to, stir up a little bit of psychic energy when you are out and about in the local environment, you know, so you're picking up on all these signals all the time. And some people might be aware of that, and that might sort of wrong foot them a little bit.
I do find sometimes when I'm out and about, we're doing nothing like purposefully. I seem to trigger people just by not. I did it the other day in the hospital, and the secretary started to have an anxiety attack, but I wasn't doing anything. Like, I don't know what she was picking up on me, but she started to do vagal exercises and deep breathing and all sorts of stuff. But sometimes I find I receive aggressiveness when I'm just like walking down the street. I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't know whether that's because subconsciously I might trigger something in somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there is something of that going on. I've got my Uranus in the 12th, and I think people with a Uranus in the 12th can sometimes bring up a lot of unconscious stirrings in people.
I do find I also people cry a lot with me. Like one time I was flying back on holiday from Mexico, and I was sat next to this guy who I'd never seen before in my life, and he was watching the film about Freddie Mercury, and I was watching the film at the same time, but I was about 10 minutes behind him, and I could see that he was crying through the film. And I was thinking as I was watching the film, am I being a really cold, kind of heartless thing? Because I'm not feeling this emotion like he is. But anyway, when the film finished, I turned around and I said to him, "Are you okay?" And for the rest of the journey, he told me his whole life story. He cried a lot. And then at the end, he gave me a hug and he walked away, and I never saw him again. But that's just like an example of how I don't know what it is. I can meet people for a very short space of time, and they'll start to open up about things that they've probably never talked about before, or they've never probably even thought about before. You know, most of my clients end up crying when I do my first appointment with them.
You should use that as a strapline.
yeah. Because I don't know. It's like managing to put the finger on where the bruise is.
Yes. Yes. The word that comes to mind, I think, is cathartic. You know, and you've got your Uranus in the 12th as well, Bo. I think we're all able to kind of locate that source of hidden psychic pain, and it's cathartic, and it's very difficult for people. They can't I guess they can't ignore themselves in your company. They can't not notice who they are. You help people see themselves a bit better.
It's a bit of a mirror energy, is it?
Yeah, it's difficult. Right, do you want to tell me about grounding then? What are your 3 top tips for feeling better in these kind of crazy and chaotic times? How can people find their Zen quickly? What's your top tip?
I think the first one you've already touched on, getting into nature.
Yeah.
Just get out there, take your shoes off if you can. Even if you can, well, a bit of mud doesn't really hurt, does it? You know, it's only dirt. But just get into nature, walk barefoot, enjoy what you're seeing, listen to the birds, feel the sun in your skin. Just be thankful that you're enjoying Gaia, and I think that should be number 1.
Yes. Okay. Number 2.
Jenny can do number 2.
I think one of my favourite for me personally, ways to ground is using Epsom salts in a bath. Or foot baths, either way. It's one of my top things I always say to clients is brilliant for detoxifying. It's magnesium and it absorbs through the skin. And I find it so relaxing in terms of muscle and like just that kind of electrical activity, relaxation. That's what it feels like to me. It's like a balance of the positive and negative kind of polarity. But yeah, I love Epsom salts. Yeah. And then you can also swimming in the sea. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I don't really like swimming in the sea because I don't really like the cold. It gets in my bones. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But I'm very partial to hot salty or Epsom salty bath. Yeah, absolutely.
And you can always chuck other herbs in and things as well with it, or aromatherapy oils, or
I've stuck in seaweed. I've gone and obviously I've not taken seaweed that's attached to the stones or because you want it to be able to grow back. But I've gone down to the sea, got some seaweed and popped it in the bath with me.
Good idea.
Sounds a bit icky,
lovely.
so it really is invigorating. You have to.
It's high in iodine, so probably very good.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bugger to clean up, but I've never revealed that publicly before. What about number 3 then? Your third top tip?
Taking herbs is good. You know, if you like had a cup of chamomile tea or various herbs, lavender's very grounding as well. And like Jenny was saying, using them for aromatherapy oils, but a cup of tea is really good. That really brings you back down.
That just sounds so British, doesn't it?
I know.
Cup of tea.
Maybe it's not number 3, but it's a good one.
Are there any other burning ones? I know I said 3, but
Yes, hugging. I think hugging.
oh yes,
Whether it's an animal or another person, hugging for at least 10 seconds, at least.
Yeah.
I saw something a while back that said, when you're giving somebody a hug, don't be the first person to break away. Like, keep there until the other person breaks away. And I think that's really, I try to do that with my kids all the time. And usually they break away, you know, the boys, but they hold him for a hug or try and hold them for 10 seconds. Then I let them break away. But yeah, hugging, definitely. Hugging is amazing.
That is beautiful. I love that. Yeah, and that you know, hug and don't be the first to break away. That's it. That is important, isn't it?
Yeah, unless both people think that they're not going to break away, and then you're there forever. Nobody's wanting to, but it's still good.
No, that's still good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I really like about that? Because I was sort of imagining what it would be like to do that, and in that moment, I realised that there's a moment where it almost feels a bit odd, and it's like, oh, and then all of a sudden your defences really come down. Then, you know, once you get beyond that, it's like, that's when you can really sink into the hug.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's so much easier with animals. We've got a very cuddly cat, or actually 2 very cuddly cats, and they give us they like we do chest to chest, like they put their arms and their legs, you know, around us, and it's so much easier to cuddle an animal, isn't it, than a human?
But they say also that, let's say, for example, you can't go outside, or you can't be barefoot outside. Actually, if your dog has been outside, or your cat,
Yes.
that's an equal way of kind of exchanging electrons, and that you can ground
Yes.
that way. So, you know, our pets are massively important to us if you have pets, obviously.
Excellent. And if you don't, then, you know, listen to the birds. You know, they're your free pets, aren't they? I was talking to a client that's got a little blue jay that keeps visiting, and I think when they come and they visit, there's some kind of companionship, there's some kind of connection, there's always a message. We've got a spider called Dave in our kids' room at the moment. They've named him Dave. So okay, so you're launching on the 8th of May, is that right?
Yeah.
So if people want to learn with you, what's the best way? Where do they go?
So just let me give a little bit of what's actually included in the course.
Okay, yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah,
First of all, so it comes under the Barefoot acronym. So B, we start with, represents body consciousness. And that's not to sort of think, oh, I don't look very good in the mirror today, or my bum looks big in these jeans. It's about tuning into your kind of own body signals and understanding what they are. We've also got a section on using intuition within body consciousness. And we've also done some resources, which are anatomy and physiology of the 11 body systems, clinical and vital signs. So explaining to people what different clinical and vital signs mean. And that's things like signs in the eyes, in the tongue, in the skin, and how you can like piece together what might be going on with you. It also covers like kind of what blood tests and what other diagnostic tests might be useful to be able to find out what's going on at the root cause. Have I missed anything out of body consciousness, Bo?
I don't think so.
And then A stands for alternative healing remedies, which we don't really want to put alternative because they shouldn't be alternative. They should be
the real ones, right?
The real ones.
But we needed an A.
Yeah, we needed an A. So that covers kind of herbal medicine, and also things like energy work, breath work, all the different kind of alternative healing kind of modalities there are.
Yeah. Then alternative, right?
yeah, exactly. And then R stands for rest and relaxation. So that obviously includes the importance of sleep and the science of sleep and why we need to sleep and why we need to rest. And we kind of go into this modern life that we're living now and how important it is to be able to switch off. And I don't think we've ever been at a time where we're more overstimulated than we are in 2024. And the importance of people letting that go. Then there's equilibrium, and a lot of that to do is with synchronizing the right and the left brain and just synchronizing your whole self and all the body systems. Then after that is food as medicine. So obviously there's a big focus on diet and about eating. And within that, we've got information on like how to do an elimination diet, macros, intuitive eating, and everything you can think of about food. Then we move on to optimal digestion, because as most people know, a lot of stuff happens in the gut. So, and not just the gut, but the whole digestive system. So we go through the whole digestive system, the importance of the microbiome, all of that. And then one with nature, which obviously is a lot to do with grounding and being with nature. But we also talk a little bit about the solar cycles and all to do with circadian rhythms and the moon. And there's a little bit of astrology in there, not much, because neither of us are experts in astrology. And then the last one is toxic load reduction and removal.
Wow.
So they're the 8 kind of pillars. Now, if someone wants to do that just as a standalone course for themselves or to be able to help other people, then they can do it like that. And then there'll be some additional stuff for people that want to register as a holistic health coach. So we'll be providing materials like client intake forms, information for clients, recipes. Yeah, we've got loads. We've done loads of resources. Like we've got a whole library, haven't we, Bo? And so then also if people want to register as a holistic health coach, they'll have to submit homework and client case studies and things like that. So there'll be 2 different options. You'll either just do it for your own benefit or for wanting to actually progress. So Bo's probably best to tell you where to go, because she's the maestro of the website.
Yes, our website is the barefoot.healers.com/roadmap.
Wow.
If you want to do the roadmap, or you can just visit us at thebarefoot.healers.com and you can find out lots of lovely stuff on our pink website.
Oh, and it is really beautiful. Was that an actual bird that I heard in the background there?
Yeah.
Whose house did that come from? That is so nice. I heard that.
I don't know what one it was. I don't have the app.
No, maybe Jenny could tell us.
Yeah. I think that's a blackbird, isn't it?
Yeah, I do too.
Sounds like a blackbird. How lovely that the blackbird comes. Right, I need to skedaddle now and look up the meaning of the blackbird. Animal totem, blackbird, spiritual message. But anyway, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us, Louisa.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a real pleasure. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
God, it's like the pleasure is mine. I love working with you guys. It's so much fun. So congratulations. Thanks for coming on. And will you come on later on this year and tell us how it's all going?
Yeah, we'd love to.
Definitely.
All right.
Well, hopefully we're going to release kind of more courses as well. We've got some in the pipeline, and there's going to be a hormone one. So for the ladies, anyone that's struggling hormonally, we're also going to be doing that. But thank you, Louisa, because I know you're so busy. Yeah. So thank you for taking the time to.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I could not. It's absolutely worth it. So thank you so much. Thank you to anyone that's been watching today and joining us. If you have any questions, please do put them in the comments below. You'll find all the details to connect with Bo and Jenny via their website, all down below. So anyway, thank you for joining us. Thank you, ladies. And just be well. Have a great life, and hopefully we'll all connect again real soon. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.